to call out Republicans' bad votes on gun legislation. Naturally, the Republicans in the state house want you to believe that they are Charlton Heston in the flesh, that they are rock solid stalwarts, because honestly, gun rights is a base issue. And so in this short video, Rob and I are going to go through a couple of what we consider to be like useful tools for the establishment to try to run cover for them anytime we have to call these legislators out. So we're just going to jump right into it. First, in our comment thread that we're going to go over today is a gal named Amanda Suffecool. Now, I've known Amanda Suffecool for a couple of years now, and before I jump into this comment here real quick, I just want to say this about Amanda. I like Amanda. Amanda is a nice lady. She's, except for when she's on Facebook, I guess, and writing comments about us here. She's a nice lady. She's a sweet lady. She supports the Second Amendment Protection Act. I think she even testified in favor of it. She's current NRA Board of Directors member. Now, we've had so many issues with the NRA over the years. They endorsed DeWine, Kasich, Stephanie Coonsey, Mike Haney, all these red flag gun confiscation bill sponsors, Matt Dolan, John Eklund, like all of the Republicans that we've had big problems with over the years. NRA endorsed them, or Buckeye Firearms Association, or one of those two organizations endorsed them. So my issue, I want to be clear about this. I don't think that people like Amanda Suffecool operate from total ill will. I think that they're politically adjacent people. They love to walk into a room and be recognized as an NRA person or somebody who's like friendly to all the politicians. I don't expect a nice woman like Amanda to be sometimes a brawling street fighter for gun rights, right? You don't expect that from older women like this, and I don't expect that from her. But I get upset when she gets spun up by these stories and feels this emotional need to defend her friends and stuff like that she's developed in the political class, when they haven't, when those people certainly don't deserve her defense. So here's her comment here. And again, I'm Chris with Ohio Gun Owners. I got
And I'm
Rob
Rob.
here. I probably should have had it at this phase right here until we moved to the Amanda video. But with that, we're going to jump right into this comment real quick, and I'm going to read it aloud for you. It says, this is Amanda Suffecool. This was last night. She says, when you have no seat at the table and have to stay relevant, Ohio Gun Owners, this organization that you're watching right now, just posted a big pile of hate toward a lot of Republicans that are pro-gun. See the posts and read the small font. Just before we go a little bit further in that comment, I really don't. It's so unfortunate when people start borrowing the labeling system of the left. You
Right.
know, like here we are spouting hate, according to her. We're spreading hate when all we're simply doing is our job as a gun rights organization. And as an NRA BOD member, you would think she would understand this. But our job as a gun rights organization isn't to sit there and run interference for the Republican Party. Our job isn't to represent the Republican Party to our members. It's to represent our members to the Republican Party or whoever is in control. So when we post stuff like this one right here, and this is what she was directly referring to, and we're calling attention to Heidi Workman for joining with the Democrats to vote against the Freedom to Carry Act, which would have fixed Ohio or removed Ohio's restrictions on NFA items like suppressors, SBRs, and short barrel shotguns. When we do that, it's to be expected. That's what our job is. Our job is to represent you guys and to hold them accountable. But then there's Amanda Suffecool saying that we are spreading hate, which is simply, it's just totally inaccurate. And I think it's more of a like a girls circling the wagon mentality and kind of an emotional reaction um to her friend is being attacked, so I gotta defend her, that kind of thing. It's not a
Right.
bad thing in most situations, but it's clearly inaccurate here because The votes are what they are, and there's no getting around it. There was a clean amendment, totally allowed under the rules of the House that Heidi Workman voted for. And then she joined the Democrats to vote no on that. So we are where we are today because of the actions and votes of people like Heidi Workman. But here, Amanda Suffecool is saying that we're posting a big pile of hate towards these Republicans that are pro-gun. Well, if they're pro-gun, Rob, correct me if I'm wrong here, but if they're pro-gun, they're going to vote pro-gun, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I would think. That's what I think everyone watching here would think. Yeah, I totally think that this is totally off base. The only thing that we're reporting in these images, folks, is their actual vote, what they actually voted to do. Um, and I like to think of this like, Chris, well, like we've said before, Chris and I both have kids of our own. Chris with a lot more than me, but when we discipline, it's not out of hate.
No,
We would love to not ever have to discipline. I think you probably agree. You know,
absolutely.
we would love to never have to discipline, but you also understand that sometimes discipline is necessary to correct behavior.
Yeah.
And, it's not out of hate. There is no
Yeah.
hate.
It's
So
because we love Heidi Workman that we have to discipline her by exposing her vote. Proverbs 13, verse 24 is very clear. It says, "He who spares the rod hates the child, but he who loves his children is careful to discipline them."
that's right.
So that's not hate. Read the Bible. God is love, Amanda. So, but let's jump back into this. It says, she says, it seemed there was a bill that was doing something. I don't know if it was moving or not. Then an amendment was offered. Was it even on topic and rejected? That seems to be where his panties are in a bunch.
Okay,
Now,
Chris, I'm going to ask the question that I think everyone watching this wants to know, and that is, do you wear panties?
I wear hemp, either hemp, totally natural, or 100% cotton, fruit of the loom, to make sure that none of that toxin, that poison, that plastic, that polyester is wreaking havoc. So
So no
never
soap.
in my life, never in my life, but she probably does, but not me. So I'm happy to answer that question for everybody. Rob, poignant and on point with
We're
that
always
question
getting
there.
to the nuts and bolts here at Ohio Gun Owners.
Boom, nailed it. Okay. Um, and she's like, then an amendment was offered, totally allowable under the House rules that Heidi Workman voted on. She agreed to the rules. The entire chamber agreed to the rules. And the bill, House Bill 667, was a public safety committee bill that came out of the public safety committee that Cindy Abrams is the chairwoman of. The bill, the underlying amendment, the Freedom to Carry Act, is a bill that is also stuck in the Public Safety Committee where Cindy Abrams is blocking it. So the amendment was totally above board. It was totally within the rules, totally within the rights and abilities of any sitting member of the Ohio House of Representatives. So I don't even think that that's like a nefarious point that Amanda Suffecool is trying to make there. She probably just doesn't know the process well enough to understand that. But then she goes on, she says, politicians make a lot of unpopular decisions and should take the heat for those decisions, but don't expand, prevaricate, or fabricate. Now, um, we've
What is
done nothing of that, and we firmly believe that they should take the heat for their decisions. That's why we put this image out right here to hold them accountable for their decisions. There's no
Yeah.
this is not rocket science.
Yeah, I don't what is there to fabricate? I mean, literally anybody can go on the Ohio House website right now and go find the House Journal from that day, June 10th, and see the votes in black and white. You see who voted yes to table, you see who voted no, not to table.
Yeah.
On
Heidi
the
Heidi Workman Heidi Workman voted no on this.
Yeah.
And then so she says, well, go ahead. Did you have one more point?
Oh, no, I was just gonna say, I mean, there's nothing to fabricate. I mean, the vote's out there. So, I mean,
Right.
there's nothing
It's in
bad with
black
it.
and white.
Yeah.
It's as easy as it gets. Um, Ohioans deserve the truth because facts. Otherwise, they are all House reps, and Senate Bill 214, the bill we are all pushing for, has not even reached them for a vote. Now, again, this is one of those things where I think, you know, Amanda just doesn't know what's going on. Senate Bill 214. But incidentally, she probably doesn't know this. This bill was written by Representative Tex Fisher in the House side. It was immediately sent to Huffman's Kill Committee, which is the Public Safety Committee, chaired by Cindy Abrams. And then Tex Fisher sent that bill over to Kyle Kaler over in the Senate side, and it got passed over there. But she says right there that this is the bill that we are all pushing for. Well, again, it's not complete. Senate Bill 214 only
Right.
deals with suppressors. It doesn't deal with short-barreled rifles and short-barreled shotguns. If we're
Yep.
going to do this, it needs to be done properly. And it's again, this is where people like Heidi Workman are pushing Amanda Suffecool out into the ether, the internet ether, and saying, defend me, run cover for me. If you're my friend, do this for me. And Amanda Suffecool is jumping right into it headlong and saying Senate Bill 214 is the bill that we need. No, we need to fix this properly.
Yep.
That's what the Freedom to Carry Act amendment that Heidi Workman voted no on would have done. So, I mean, it's swing and a miss. She posted it last night, and I said, this comment made me chuckle. Thanks for the laugh. I'll deal with it tomorrow. But totally, this is what the political class in Columbus does. They mobilize people like Amanda Suffecool. Let's get on to another comment I read here in that same comment thread. This is the same group of people, politically adjacent. Maybe one or two reps know them when they walk into a county GOP meeting. They go over and shake their hand. They're mobilizing this crowd, this establishment, permanent Columbus class of wannabe politicos, and saying, go out there and defend us. If you know two other people, jump into the comment section and defend us. So here's a guy, he says, when is your organization going to stop lying to gun owners? You did it against Vivek Ramaswamy. I don't think he spelled it right. You did it against Vivek Ramaswamy, and now you're doing it against Heidi Workman, who is one of the strongest gun advocates in the Ohio legislature. First of all, I don't know what he's talking about when it comes to Vivek Ramaswamy. Vivek Ramaswamy signed our survey 100%. He got every question answered correctly. And that's going to be a big fat difference in comparison to Lion Amy Acton, who Ohio gun owners was on the front lines of pushing back during the lockdown. So I
Yep.
don't know what he's talking about there. We had to put some pressure on his campaign in order to get him to sign that, but he did.
Yep.
So we never misrepresented that whatsoever. So I don't know what he's talking about there. I don't think he does either. But he says you owe her an apology. He says that Heidi Workman, who is one of the strongest gun advocates in the Ohio legislature, by what standard do they make that claim? By what standard?
Right.
The most pro-gun state representative in the Ohio House of Representatives is Jennifer Gross. And maybe there's like a three-way battle there between her and maybe like Tex Fisher and Ron Ferguson. Or I don't know. That'd be like a fight, and I wouldn't even pay to watch it. But it's not Heidi Workman. She's not taking the lead on these things. It's other people, and she joined the Democrats to vote no on what is arguably the most important and biggest gun legislation that she had the opportunity to vote on. When she was needed the most, Heidi Workman joined the Democrats. Okay.
Right.
So
And the
this
other thing to
claim,
keep in mind too is, the legislature, they have not passed a major gun bill since Duty
2021.
to Retreat, right? I mean,
Yeah, 2021.
and that was well before Heidi Workman's time in the legislature.
Oh yeah.
So they really
Yeah.
haven't been tested much at all.
Yeah. Yep. So let me keep going here just a second. He says, you owe an apology, and you need to take this piece of garbage down, which you just used to rile up gun owners for no reason or to raise money for your pathetic organization. We have not done anything inaccurate here. Gun owners have every right to be upset at Republicans for not fixing this proactively, like we gave them the opportunity to do.
Absolutely.
But absolutely, if you are not a member of Ohio Gun Owners and you feel the desire to become one today, please go to joinogo.com, sign up and become a member, or go to donate to ogo.com and make a contribution, because we would love to have your support in our efforts to hold these people accountable and to mobilize the gun vote before these November elections. People like this guy aren't going to do it. We have lists, we have big lists, and we have the ability to crank out the content necessary to mobilize these people. So, guilty as charged. We'd love to raise money. We're a nonprofit organization. We don't have billionaires writing checks. We don't have NGOs writing checks like all of the other gun control organizations do. And we're not going to apologize for that. I think what happens is a lot of this political class, like this guy, and I'll get to the end here in just a second, but a lot of these guys, these political class, they hate it that we're not Team R. We're supposed to like get the brand like off of Yellowstone, instead of a Y, you get an R. We're supposed to ride for the brand, ride for the family, never criticize them publicly. But that's not Ohio gun owners. If we did that, we would never have stopped Mike DeWine's gun control push, John Kasich's gun control push, all these other Rhino Republicans who sponsor gun control. We never would have defeated all that stuff if we were Team R all the time. And they don't like it that we spend resources in Republican primaries to affect the outcome, to let gun voters decide if they want this person whose real record is this, or this person who says they want to improve on that record. They hate it that we're outside of the establishment Republican control arm, and they hate it. They hate it. And so they, instead of getting mad at Republicans for raising millions and millions and millions of dollars and spending that money to try to take out people like Ron Ferguson in Republican primaries, or Craig Riedel up there in Northwest Ohio, instead of getting mad at that, they instead get mad at us because we go after these politicians and hold
Well,
them
and when they get
accountable.
mad at us, what they really are mad at is all of you watching. Let's keep,
Exactly.
yeah, because our who is Ohio gun owners? It's you guys.
Exactly.
You know,
Totally. Exactly. And that bears repeating frequently and often. I don't do it enough. But guys like Nelson Nelly, guys like Wendell Thomas, who's watching right now, up there in Laddie. But you are Ohio gun owners. Everybody on our list is Ohio gunners. All of our members and supporters are Ohio gunners. Those are the people who we fight for. We don't claim I stand here and speak on behalf of the 752,000 CHL holders in the state. No, no.
right?
We're a special interest group, and our special interest is the Second Amendment and freedom.
Yes,
That's it. And we do it on behalf of our members. So people like this guy hate it. He says, she did not, back to this guy here. He says, she did not vote against that policy or that bill, but voted to table a non-germane amendment that went against the rules of the House. This is
so many
where
falsehoods there.
that's where this guy doesn't know his head from a hole in the sand. Doesn't know procedure, doesn't know House rules, doesn't know how amendments work, doesn't know what germaneness is, but he's probably been told that by these politicians and saying, go out there, here's some talking points, push this stuff everywhere. Because like we've
100%.
detailed, the amendment was filed in order, on time. It was on a bill that was in the same committee as the amendment was, and it was called up totally within procedural rules that everybody in the House agreed to. People do it all the time. By the way, this isn't something that they just experienced for the first time in the 136th General Assembly on the second year of. This happens all the time. Democrats do it all the time. Republicans do it. They amend their own bills on the floor all the time. Happens all the time. So for him to say all that kind of stuff, just it's simply not accurate. He says clearly it was offered deliberately so that you could play political games. There's nothing. It's not a political game to insist that Republicans who are voted into the majority by, at least in part by gun owners in every single county in the state, to expect them to deliver results for their campaign promises. Again, in 2024, every single one of these people was out there campaigning and saying that we're going to be Charlton Heston in the flesh, we're rock solid pro gunners, all this different stuff. It's not what was it's not political gamesmanship to expect them to honor their campaign promises. I don't know of a better way of breaking that down. When the Democrats take majorities in Virginia, they uphold their campaign promises. Take Virginia, for example. They promised that they're going to do sweeping gun control, and that's exactly what they did. Republicans in Ohio in 24, which where this 136th General Assembly is the result of that election, they promised to do the same, but they haven't done the same. That's not political gamesmanship. That's political backstabbing by the Republican majorities.
Yeah, I was going to say, you know what a political game is, and that's voting no on the amendment. That's the political game. We just wanted good pro-gun policy.
Yeah.
And that would have actually solved the issues now that we're facing in light of this NFA ruling.
Yeah.
The political game was to vote no and then make excuses till the cows come home for these politicians.
Yes.
That was the political game right there.
That's extremely accurate right there. He says, you owe her an apology and you owe your members an apology. We decline on both. First of all, our members don't deserve an apology. They deserve a great big round of applause and total respect by the Ohio Republican establishment for being so principled that they see right through this total bullshit by some of these Republicans. Who is this guy? His Tom Zawistowski, president, We the People Convention. Never heard of this guy, or at least I think he used to be a big deal like back in 2010.
Something like that. Like I was going to say, I worked at the State House for quite a few years as an aide, and I never once saw him or anything. I never heard of him.
Yeah. Anyway, he doesn't have a group or anything like that, but he's the president of it. So I guess he's the whatever that is. But I don't want to spend too long on each one of these we have two more that we're going to look at real quick here. This one was kind of funny. Alex Triantelu, for those of you who don't know, is the Republican Party of Ohio chairman. And he comes on here and says, just another meaningless grifter not interested in actually moving the ball. Well, moving the ball means in gun politics in the Ohio legislature, it means passing legislation. And when you force a vote on an amendment that's rock solid pro-gun legislation, that's called moving the ball. The people who are grifting are Republicans who say they are pro-gun at election time, but then join the Democrats during the legislative season to submarine and block pro-gun legislation. That is political grifting, and you know, this comes from a guy, Alex Triantelu, and you can see my I'll read my comment in just a second, but this is a guy who openly backed Speaker Hoffman's slate of candidates and passed out endorsements to people that are not qualified for the endorsement, quite frankly. And he's a part of that permanent Columbus. I think he's actually from Cincinnati, but he's part of that permanent Ohio political class that only exists to enrich and benefit itself, their own careers, their own public image, and those kinds of things. And it's I don't know. I mean, you have anything to add about old Big Alex T?
Well, I mean, I think Alex, what I will say is I think Mr. Alex over here should spend more time campaigning, because right now Ohio Republicans are not looking well in the polls. So I think he needs to spend a little bit less time kvetching on Facebook and a little bit more time doing his actual job. Um,
Yeah.
but furthermore, I was going to say that what an amazing feat it is for the president of the party to grace us with his presence here in this comment. And then secondly, for such a grifter organization, Chris, can you imagine what Ohio would look like if we would have had red flag laws passed in
Yeah.
2018 or 19?
Yeah.
If permitless carry was not passed, if stand your ground was not passed, and those were all things that this organization and all of you guys that are watching by extension have been heavily involved in over the years.
Yes.
Would we have gotten votes on some of the most pro-gun legislation in Ohio history, like the Second Amendment Protection Act in 2024, or the Freedom to Carry Act? Would we have gotten those votes? Would we have stopped gun control? Would we have passed permitless carry, stand your ground? So I think for being a grifter organization, Chris, I think we've done, this organization's done a lot of good.
Doing pretty good.
Yeah.
I like this comment from Jerry here. He says, we deserve an apology from the politicians who said they supported our bills and have stabbed us in the back repeatedly. Here's another
Preach it.
one from
Preach it, Jerry.
from William. He says, these politicians need to understand we the people are tired of their flip-flopping. Do what we voted you in to do. That
Yes.
gets me right back to my response, Big Alex T. Triantelu. I said, Alex, first of all, this is last night. I was with the family and stuff like that. So I'm like, shush up, clown. Get doing your job and don't screw this up for everyone this fall. You haven't been impressive so far, and the poll numbers should make you get off your ass and get busy campaigning instead of spouting off on threads. Thank you for your attention to this matter. There is no runaway freight train of victory in sight for the Republican Party this fall. It is going to be an absolute slugfest all the way up to the finish line. And people like Alex Triantafilo, who is chairman of the Ohio GOP, should spend his time not in Facebook comment threads, but getting on the phone with donors, getting on the phone with campaigns, and saying, what messaging are we zeroing in on right now to make sure that we don't blow this whole freaking thing in November? That's what he should be doing.
You know what else he should
Instead
be
of sitting there
saying?
just like on rote repetition, repeat, like a broken record saying, yeah, we're not Democrats. Biden is to blame for everything 4 years ago and all. Like, why don't you develop some talking points to talk about the affordability crisis, how people are in pain on their family budgets every time they go fill up their gas tank or go to go to Kroger to get groceries? Why don't you focus on those things? Why don't you develop a message for young Republicans who we have a huge problem with right now with regards to housing or property taxes or any of these things that we are imperiling the November elections over because we haven't figured these things out? Instead, here's Alex Triantafilo spouting off nonsense in the comment section on a Facebook thread at night when he can be making donor calls. It's like this moron doesn't even know what his own job is.
Yeah, I agree.
Am I weird?
No, he, and I think it would help people like Al. This guy. Keep in mind, folks, we're not, these are Facebook comments, but this guy is literally the president of the Ohio Republican Party. He is the top dog when it comes to Republicans in Ohio, and he's talking about this organization. But what would really what would really be beneficial for Alex? I'll just give this to him as free advice. If you were calling up Matt Huffman and saying we're getting slaughtered out here in these polls, up and down the ballot, you need to call you need to get all these members back to Columbus, and you need to pass some pro-gun bills. You need to pass some property tax relief. You need to do X, Y, and Z because we have absolutely nothing to talk about, and we are getting slaughtered out here.
Yes.
That is something that Alex should be doing, but no, he's calling all of you out there grifters. He's calling this organization grifting. when we're out here trying to stack pro-gun wins past the policy, these people are the ones playing political games. They're the ones that are
Yes.
voting no on the policy and trying to shove an excuse down your throat. That's
Yes.
despicable.
Yeah, Alex is one of the guys who is out there in full-blown support of siphoning money away from hardworking Ohioans and giving it to the billionaire Haslam family for the Cleveland Browns bailout. It's unbelievable stadium. It's unbelievable. Well said, Rob. That is excellent advice. I hear this from all up and down the political strata right now in Ohio. When it comes to Ohio legislators, their polling is taking an absolute ass whipping. And the biggest complaint, and you just said this, you just alluded to this, the biggest complaint is that a lot of these people feel like they got nothing to go and run on.
Yep.
You got nothing to go back to their districts and campaign on. No big fat wins that they can say, we did this for you. We made a campaign promise in 24 and we freaking delivered. That would be the best thing that big old Alex Triantelu here could do, is stop spending time on Facebook comments and call up Matt Huffman on the phone and say, freaking reconvene the Ohio House, that we need every single base vote that we can get. The gun owners are one of those base voters, and get this bill passed right now. Every gun owner in the state is watching. Let's give them a reason to come out and vote for us instead of sitting there trying to decide whether or not which party is going to do anything.
Or if they're even going to vote at all.
Yeah, and I told this to a lot of people. I told it to Vivek. I said, look, gun owners aren't sitting there. They're not the biggest voting bloc in the whole state, but they're not sitting there trying to figure out if they're going to go vote for Amy Acton or you. They're trying to figure out, am I going to go vote at all, or am I just going to go drink beer? And this is a problem that we see with Alex Triantafilo. He just does not understand what is happening out there in the base when it comes to these issues like affordability, the data centers, property taxes, and they've got no message coalescing around this stuff as they head into the most important time of the campaign season, which is September and October.
Yeah, folks, I want you to think about this for a second. If you are a Republican candidate running right now, wouldn't it be so great to be able to go out there to your base of supporters and say, I voted for the most pro-gun bills in the General Assembly ever in Ohio history? Permitless carry, stand your ground, SAPA, Freedom to Carry Act, if they were around for all of them. Boom, boom, boom. But these people want to sit here and say, oh, I couldn't support that because I didn't read it. And I wasn't paying attention when Jennifer Gross was speaking, or I just don't think it was germane. Just making up all these excuses when they could be out there saying, yes, I voted for the most pro-gun bill out there.
As it stands right now, a lot of these Republicans cannot even delineate themselves from the Democrats because so many of them voted identically with the Democrats. And by the way, just so you guys know, when this amendment vote happened on the floor of the House on June 10, when enough Republicans crossed over and joined the Democrats to kill it, the Democrats literally cheered and clapped and were just giddy with joy that they had just killed the Freedom to Carry Act with Republican help. The Democrats obviously understood what the bill was. But that's like the big tragedy heading into these elections, especially for people like Heidi Workman. She can't sit there and draw a distinction between herself and her Democrat opponents when it comes to Second Amendment bills, because she voted the exact same way as the Democrat would have if the Democrat was sitting in her district's position. So that's huge. Great points there, Rob. Let's get to the last comment here real quick. And this is just like, so when these politically adjacent members of the permanent Columbus political class or Ohio political class, when they can't win on the policy, then they start the character assassination stuff. So, but I don't really give a rip. It's quite a badge of honor for us here at Ohio Gun Owners. Again, we don't look to these people for deep, close personal friendships because that stuff just generally gets in the way. But here's a guy named Tim Inwood. I think he's the Clinton County GOP chairman. But he writes in this comment thread, he says, hold on, I got a little monitor in the way. He says, he's scum, referring to me. He also attacks the people who helped get concealed carry, preemption, and other improvements in Ohio gun laws all the time. Controversy, noise, and frequent lies about good people is what butters Door's bread. The carpetbagger should be tarred and feathered and then returned to his home state. He's thrown a monkey wrench into getting things done more times than people know. Now, that's a lot. It's a lot. Tim's getting old. He's up there. He's seen a lot of his friends leave the scene permanently now. And honestly, we've never done anything but hold the people like Chuck LaRosa and Gary Witt and a lot of the people that were involved with Ohioans for Concealed Carry in high esteem over the years. I've become friends with some of them, not close personal friends, but I'm very friendly with them. I have nothing but respect for them. But we don't play by the same rules, and we certainly don't employ the same tactics. The tactics of 2004 need to stay in 2004 because they are
Yes.
simply not up to the task of the world that we are living in today. And I don't hold that against OFCC guys. I might disagree with them. There might be some like professional ribbing going back and forth. Guys like Dave Regal, I don't always agree with his opinions on things. They come at this from like a totally different generational perspective than the ones we do. And then I come at it from a different perspective than younger people than me do. I mean, it's the way the world turns. Um, but so there he is. But the thing to remember about Tim Inwood is, and I say it right here, I says the guy that walked into and lent his support to DeWine's gun control press conference. I remember well seeing you walk in that room with guilt all over your face, Timmy. A little access to the governor goes a long way, eh? You and old Jimmy Irvine got busted that day, so I get it if you don't like it, if I never forget. And that's been like one of the hallmarks of Ohio gun owners. We're not just like a phone it in type of an organization. I was there in the state house the day that Mike DeWine held one of his press conferences announcing the rollout of their Strong Ohio gun control plan. DeWine does this all the time. He stacks the deck with people and then he works the room and he gets them to support his gun control. Everybody knows if you were it's an invite only press conference. I wasn't allowed in. The fake news media was there, and then all of DeWine's friends were allowed in there to show their support for DeWine's gun control agenda. I caught Tim Inwood on video, and they don't like it. They don't like it when they're getting called out. Jim Irvine was one of the people. Jim Irvine had a whole bunch of other stuff that he'd done. Choked on House Bill 228 back in the day. But we call it out. We call it out and we make no apologies for it. And but then so there he goes, and he's just got to like hurl all this stuff. I don't blame him for getting old and bitter that they couldn't do more in their time. But we can't sit around and wait for those things to get fixed on their own, which is why we started Ohio Gun Owners and adopted the no holds barred brass knuckles tactics that we use to get the job done. So and
Yeah.
like Rob, like you said just a minute ago, let me go back to this. Like you said a minute ago, if we didn't, none of this stuff would have passed by now. I mean, there's still old BFA articles out there from like 2017 when we first started this organization where they're openly saying constitutional carry, great idea, it will never pass.
Or yeah, weren't
Well,
they saying things like it's not the right time? I mean, even up to 2020, people were saying now is not the right time. We
yeah,
can't do it yet. We don't have the votes.
yeah.
All these other excuses they always
And,
list.
and and we've always adopted the idea that, look, win, lose, or die trying, you gotta fight. You gotta fight. You gotta make the fight. Most of the time, when you make the fight, you grow stronger, you popularize the idea, you identify weaknesses in the Republican caucus, you deal with those issues during the Republican primaries, but you get strong. A lot of people don't want to start a fight. It's a lot easier to join a fight that is in progress. So Ohio gun owners like, screw it. If our founding fathers waited until everything lined up perfectly, we'd be freaking sipping tea right now.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to throw that in there.
I
I
see
like,
what you did. I see what you did.
but we never would have won those fights. We never would have been the country that we built, and so we go out there and we're proactive. We don't sit there and beg the politicians. We tell them, hey, you campaigned on this, now do it. You're not going to do it, okay? We'll see you in the primaries. We'll see you in your district. We'll see you. We'll do whatever. We're going to make sure everybody knows where you really are, so that they can make better choices about who they want representing them. That's been our model from day one. We're not going to sit. We're going to be proactive. We're going to get the best bills introduced. We're going to push for 100%. We're going to make the politicians compromise. We're not going to be the ones who compromise. If there's going to be compromise being done, it's not going to be from us. It's going to be from you guys. We want you guys to compromise with and buckle to the left.
Yep.
We don't want Republicans. We don't want conservatives. We don't want gun owners to compromise. We want you guys to compromise. You guys don't want to do it. Just do it.
Preach it.
Do it. You guys don't want to tick off the gun control lobby. Compromise. Get used to it. Just don't compromise on our bills. Make it. You get scared that the associations aren't going to lob in their lobbyist PAC checks during your election season. Tough luck. Make your own peace with it. Make a deal with them on something else. We don't care. Pass our gun bills. You compromise, not us. It's just the way the world works. The radical left is very good at these tactics, by the way. They are proactive about what they want. That's why you see all the blue dogs that used to represent historically, rural agricultural areas, rural production areas, industrial areas. The blue dog conservative Democrats, socially conservative Democrats, they don't exist anymore. It's because the Democrats, the communists in the Democrat Party, they go out and they axe them out. They want people to toe the line. We just want our side to toe the line for once. That's the ideology here and behind what we do. That's the ideology behind the tactics, I should say. I think both Rob and I would be openly professing it's our Christian worldview. And the responsibility, it says in the Bible, he that doesn't provide for his own is worse than an unbeliever. We take that seriously. We want to hand our kids a better country than what we inherited as children. And looking around at these Republicans, we know that's not going to happen. So we demand them to do their jobs. And if not, we'll see you at election time.
Yeah, that's right.
This isn't rocket science. This isn't even hard.
All they have to do is literally with some of these people, all they have to do is vote the way they said they would at election time. And for a lot of these people, that is exactly the case.
Yep. Check this. I mean, here's what you need. It's all you need. Sorry, Rob, you just got read it out.
Doggone it.
This is the sentiment that we are talking about right here. Ted Wood says, dude, the Republicans have been doing jack. They implemented data centers in Flock. They ruined the state, dropping us in many rankings nationwide. DeWine was the worst, but I don't see Acton or Ramaswamy as being any better. True or not, that is a sentiment that Republicans have to deal with in these elections.
Yeah.
And
I will say that's not the first time I've heard similar sentiments. Let's just say that espoused.
We hear it all the time. Here's another great comment. Sorry, Rob, you keep getting read out here, but Jerry says, ironic how the biggest grifters in Ohio call you a grifter to cover their grifting. The problem for those guys is that we remember the promises and we've heard all the excuses that followed. So who's the grifters again?
Excellent
That's exactly
point.
it. That's exactly it. And there's so many people that are just sitting there shouting from the rooftops, oh my goodness, if you don't go vote Team R, you're voting for communism. I'm sorry, but like you can't expect people to act, you can't expect Republican-based conservatives to just act like domestic victims, domestic violence victims, and just return to their abuser time and time and time again. You better tell us what you're going to change and do it now, or indifference is the result.
Right.
And that's what we're seeing right now in spades. We're seeing in spades. So many people are like, you know what? I'm just done. I'm done. I've been betrayed too many times, and I'm not going to lend this system credibility by continuing to vote for, I mean, insanity. What's the definition of it? Doing the same thing and expect multiple times and expecting that different outcomes. These people are, a lot of people are beginning to feel that way, and it's a big, huge red flag for the Republican Party.
Yeah, and that's not just us saying that. I mean, you guys in the comments, you've been dropping those in. The polling data, I mean, says that also though. So that's not just Chris talking here. I mean, that's something that has been showing up in data polls and polling data over the last several months at least.
Yes. Yep, it sure
Hey
is. So,
Alex, get to work.
yeah, get off your butts and get to work. Um, establishment or or you guys are going to lose power. I mean, honestly, if Republicans don't win the gubernatorial and the U.S. Senate seat, both of which are very important, people like Alex Triantelu should be absolutely fired day one. The first meeting that everybody comes back to for the central the central, what's it called? Ohio Central State
The
Central Committee.
state central committee, yeah.
Yeah, he should be fired. He should be fired. And they have all the proof they need to right here. He wasted his time. He squandered the resources that was he annihilated the trust that was given to him when he was elected GOP chairman. So we wanted to cut this video so you guys can see what's happening out there. I think the blame game is going to escalate big time by these people. They're going to try to shame people into going and vote. I think that's going to backfire on them big time. But right now they are doing they're circling the wagons around some of these Republicans to try to blame anybody else but them for not delivering on their campaign promises. And
Yep.
like Rob said, the best thing for people like this, like for Amanda Suffecool, for Alex Triantelu, for Timmy Inwood, would be to insist that Matt Huffman recall the General Assembly right the heck now,
Yeah.
and pass this bill, pass the Freedom to Carry Act, and actually serve up a ribeye for the base.
Yeah, prove you're not just all talk. That's what people
And
accuse you of. Prove them wrong.
Yeah, and that's just this issue. I mean, you got the whole month of September. I would schedule every single week as a session week, and I'd be passing so much right wing, rock solid conservative policy that it'd make your head spin.
Yeah,
It's just like,
gosh,
you can't lose.
that would be so much fun.
You can't lose at that point, or maybe it's too late. I don't know. I mean, anybody with a brain on their shoulder should have been doing this about a year ago. Just to be able to roll into it. Everybody knows that a midterm, when a Republican controls the White House, is historically bad for the controlling party. They should have been passing like all this policy a year ago. Instead, what they were doing was giving bailouts of taxpayer dollars to the billionaire Haslam family, or they were codifying all these tax breaks and financial incentives for all these global homo companies that are trying to milk Ohio for all of its natural resources and electricity and water and all these kinds of things. That's what they should have been doing.
Right.
But they're getting back checks from all those entities, so they couldn't.
It's true.
That's the way the cookie crumbles, as they say. We'll see you guys in the next one.
See ya.